Welcome to Flashback. We are talking about the very first game in the Gears of War franchise, Gears of War, unsurprisingly, called Gears of War, back when Gears of War was called Gears of War, not Gears.
Yeah.
Did you actually, totally random, did you read the statement as to why they said they're going to call Gears 5 instead of Gears of War 5?
No idea.
I thought it was absolutely brilliant.
Really?
They said, basically, they've noticed that most people just call it Gears now anyway. And I was like, that's true. I call it Gears 4, Gears 3. It's like, yeah, it makes sense, doesn't it?
Does make a lot of sense.
Yeah. Anyway, that's not the point, because obviously Gears of War 5 is the latest edition. We're going back all the way to Gears of War 1, 2006, third-person shooter video game. First installment, of course. And it was developed by Epic Games and published by Microsoft Game Studios. It's an exclusive, one of the few Microsoft exclusives that exist. Initially as an exclusive title, should I say, for Xbox 360, because it was also went out on Windows, although it's still kind of an exclusive, it's Microsoft Windows. So yeah. So the very first one in the franchise.
Yeah, it's an old game now. When you say it's,
it is an old game.
It's weird to think that. I remember playing it, when it first came out. But it's a game that truly revolutionised the third-person shooter.
Yeah.
The whole genre, and especially cover shooters. It really there was a lot of new ideas that it brought forth that you associate with Gears of War, and it introduced to gaming as a whole. I knew when I was playing it that I was playing something special.
Yeah. And you say it like that, it's really hard to sometimes think back about Gears of War, because your mind always goes to really almost later installments more than anything else. When I think of Gears of War in the past, my mind tends to go to Gears 2 more than anything else. See, I just did that Gears 2.
Yeah, I mean that's a larger scale game, but it's a special game, especially it introduced a lot of cool things.
As a person who was a lapsed gamer for a couple of years and eventually was talked into getting an Xbox 360 by my brothers, it was one of the first games that really, really fucking blew me away. This was a game that really reintroduced my love of video games, where I was like, shit, this is good.
Yeah, because on the surface, if you haven't played a Gears of War game and you know nothing about them, if you're just looking at them from footage or whatever, or someone playing it, it looks like a mindless shooter.
Yeah.
Just like another one of those that you just kind of throw away, these big beefy men and just killing some aliens or whatever. But it falls into a category where it separates itself by having a lot of hearts.
Yep.
Yeah. It's got with the characters, and the characters they're not one dimensional. They have, like I said, they have heart. They have
personalities.
Yeah. And they make you really care about them and what's going on,
No, I agree. Gunplay was fantastic as well. One of the things about it can't ever be understated is how it really introduced and made gunplay really fucking exciting again.
Yeah, most of the weaponry in the game I think is really memorable. You got the Nash shotgun and the lobbing of grenades. That was quite a unique mechanic. Just
generally even the standard Lancer, like how iconic is that chainsaw?
Yeah, I heard someone say not too long ago that the Lancer is probably the best standard weapon in a game ever, because you never want to change it out. You'll always want to have it in your loadout.
Yeah.
It's always the go-to gun because it's just so solid for shooting and accuracy, and you've got the chainsaw as well for close combat. And just a real weightiness to the guns. They really pack a punch, especially like I mentioned the Nash's shotgun. Doing from the hip, shooting with that is just so satisfying. It really does. They're devastating weapons.
It made multiplayer a bitch, but there you go. But yeah, talking about multiplayer as well. We introduced again, like I said, this is one of the games I think of when I got my Xbox 360, and I hadn't really ever played online multiplayer. Yeah. Think about it, I hadn't. The previous consoles before that was a couple of years previously was a GameCube and stuff like that.
Yeah,
so this was my first real experience of online multiplayer.
Yeah.
And while Gears of War 2 stands up more in that sense, Gears 1 still fucking great.
Yeah, I mean I mentioned the Lancer and the chainsaw and how chainsawing through the locust never gets boring. It's such a cool visual.
It really is.
I don't think I remember any other game before, at the time and before Gears, that revelled in the gore and the violence in the way that it did. It's a super violent game.
Yeah.
You can blow heads off. You can just destroy.
You can destroy, literally. Yeah. It was perhaps too much there.
Yeah.
Okay then. There hasn't been a better boss since Rum. This is a strong statement, but I believe this is true. If you think about all the Gears franchise, I don't think there's ever been a better boss villain than Rum. That remains to be seen as we go forward, but certainly it's for that. And I'd also say, tying into that, no other Gears game, perhaps beyond the modern Gears 5, this was horror at times.
Yeah.
Where obviously an action game, but it had horror.
Yeah, the horrors of war or whatever.
Yeah.
It really like displayed that well, and it's filled with lots of tense moments. You mentioned the battle with Ram. The final battle on the train at the end is really tough. And,
Right, we'll get to that in a bit. Let's go to dislikes first.
Okay.
It's still just a shooter. Ultimately, when it comes down to it,
Yeah.
if you're trying to sell Gears of War to a person, it's going to be very, very difficult, and they don't like shooters. It's impossible to sell it because that is unless you can't tell lies. So it's like when it comes down, like, oh, what's gameplay like?
Yeah,
Shooting.
of course, it's cool. That's exactly what it is. And one of the things looking back at it, especially looking at more modern Gears like Gears 5 and stuff, is a really drab looking game.
Yeah,
like it's just filled with grey.
Yep.
It's not very interesting to look at, and it's kind of a corridor shooter. You get stuck in, you go from one set piece to the next, and there's not as much freedom and openness as there is in the future.
No, I would agree with you on that one.
Games.
Yeah. One thing that drives me nuts by Gears 1, this is a major dislike.
Yeah.
They make out like the death of Kim is so fucking important.
Yeah.
That character is so underdeveloped that it's genuinely like, why the fuck should I care? I never understood that at the time. It was like compared to deaths later on in the franchise.
I am pleased with our progress. I understand they have located another squad. Our strategy remains the same. Cut off the head of the snake, and the body dies. We will win this war. It's only a matter of time.
Who the fuck's Kim?
Yeah, no, that's a good point. Another thing that I used to find really annoying was the sections with the razor hail.
Oh
I
god.
just always thought that was really annoying.
Yeah, I agree with you
Especially
on that one.
Especially on the hard difficulties, because on the hard difficulties, even the slightest of touches can light your screen red.
It's
It's
devastating.
very easy to get killed there, even like the smallest little corner. I think there's certain areas where there's cover when there's razor hail, and it can still sometimes hit you and stuff, and it can be really annoying.
Agree with you on that one. The last thing about dislike is ultimately as well. When I think of the best Gears game, this one inevitably loses out to Gears 2. Always.
That's true. Like I mentioned, it's on a much larger scale, and I've been the characters by that point. You've been with them, so obviously, like I said, it has a lot of heart and stuff, but you don't really get that until you've played it further along the line and you've spent more time.
It's
with the
more
characters.
reflective now than anything else.
Yeah, definitely.
Right, favourite moments, scenes, and bits of music.
Yeah, I mean, talking of Ram
You mentioned it, yeah.
as a villain, I mean, I think the train final battle at the end is like a super tense boss battle.
Exciting.
Yeah. It forces you into a really small environment where you literally can't escape, and you have to just shoot and hope, basically.
And it's kind of like that train's going off the edge, and while there isn't a timer in that sense, it doesn't make it any less tense.
Yeah, you never know, kind of thing. Where it could be it's gonna end. Again, Ram. I think I really remember the scene that introduces Ram, where you see this big locust, stomping towards. I think is that
It's
when
Kim.
When Kim dies? Yeah. You see this big locust stomping towards Kim, and he doesn't really notice them, but it kind of pans up to them, and they pick him up, and they're huge, because at this point you've only really seen standard locusts.
That's it.
And they stab him straight through the chest.
Yeah.
And it's just I think it's a really impactful moment. It really showed the size of the job and how much of a formidable opponent the locusts truly were. Yeah. I
mean, it's excellent, yeah. I mean, overall as well, the story is epic, and it's helped by ultimately, which is incredible voice acting. Incredible voice acting. Yeah, can't argue with that.
Yeah. Did you know that the guy that does the voice of Marcus also is the voice of Bender?
Yes.
Yeah, you didn't know that.
It's John...
Yeah, he's DiMaggio or something.
John DiMaggio, yeah. He's a voice actor of many things. Great voice actor, yeah.
It's quite a contrast of voices there.
And my last thing for favourite moment scenes, and I know why they're gone because of what happens at the end, but they were always one of my favourite things of Gears, and it was interesting to see Gears 5 bring back a similar style. The Krull. Fucking what a villain.
Oh yeah, they're really creepy.
Yeah, and to bring a similar thing back in Gears 5 that tear people apart as they flow over them was brilliant. I thought, I love the Krull. Anything else after that?
I actually missed out a dislike, and there's a lot of walking slowly in the game where you get stuck in the conversations.
Oh,
where-
like the old like that shit.
And
Yeah.
there's a lot of that, and they finally fixed that in the later games where you could actually like move faster through
Yeah.
the sections, but there's a lot of it in Gears 1.
Slowly moving while they're talking,
Yeah.
and you can't. I get that. There you go. That's Gears 1, our flashback of it. Make sure you check out the other videos. Let us know what you think.
No favourite music.
I didn't actually have any. No.
No. You ain't got a favourite Gears track?
No, not really. Do you?
No,
Not
no.
Gears of War 1.
No, I mean...
Gears of War 2, the music that plays when you find Maria in the thing, the uplifting, like not uplifting, no, not uplifting, wrong word. The like the late, like darkened, really sad music that plays then is it when he's Dom's crying. But that's Gears of War 2, not 1. That's the problem. Gears 1 doesn't have anything memorable. God, no, I don't think so.
It's hard because we've both
The
just
Gears
played...
theme.
Yeah, maybe. The sound effect like that when you pick up a tag.
Yeah.
That's like a memorable sound effect.
And the obvious when the sound effect that plays in all Gears games when you've finished a battle to signify the battle's over. That's
true.
sound effect that plays.
The music settles.
Iconic, yeah.
So anyway, I cut you off as the closing, but
Yes, it's all right. It's all right. There you go then. That's our flashback again. Don't cut me off this time. Flashback. Let us know what you think in the comments. Hit that like and subscribe button.